we're back with another installment of Skylanders in Smash. Today, we're talking about the Unicorn Dragon Hybrid herself, Whirlwind. A Skylander of the air element, Whirlwind can dispatch her enemies by either firing rainbows from her horn, or casting thunderous storm clouds that electrocute enemies. She is also the second quadruped Skylander we've encountered, the first being Spyro, and if you're intimately familiar with Smash, you'd know that those types of fighters are in short supply. This may end up being the most challenging moveset I've created so far, so I hope you'll join me for the ride. But before we start, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Most of these Skylanders we've covered never seem to attack up close and personal, always opting to take out enemies at a distance with projectiles or beam attacks. And to my detriment, Whirlwind is also a part of that camp. Fortunately, I managed to scrounge up something that'll serve as the mechanism for delivering most of her basic attacks. For starters, I noticed this animation in her Giants trailer, where she performs a sort of thrusting attack with her horn, emitting rainbow energy. In addition, there's also Keldeo, a Pokemon that can be summoned with the Pokeball item in Smash. Its main attack is swiping at opponents in a large arc with his horn, acting as his quote-unquote sword. With that in mind, I'm thinking Whirlwind's horn possesses the same traits, albeit with much shorter range than Keldeo's. Now we can get into the basic moves, starting with, as always, the neutral attack. For Whirlwind, hers is a 3-stage standard jab, the first 2 hits being alternating swipes with her talons, before ending with an upward slash from her wing. This series of attacks is mimicking Charizard's jab, which is fitting given that he's a dragon, which is one half of Whirlwind. Next, the tilts are where her horn starts getting involved. For instance, her forward tilt is her thrusting her head forward, after which her horn extends to stab enemies in front of her. There's no move in Smash that directly mirrors this, but there are plenty of F-tilts that serve as an example of the type of move I'm referencing. For instance, Banjo and Kazooie's F-tilt involves a forward thrusting motion to stab opponents, which is the same type of movement I'm looking for in Whirlwind's forward tilt. Up tilt is another horn attack, where she headbutts above herself, swinging her horn in a wide arc. Most sword fighters swing their sword in a similar motion. Another comparison is not an up tilt per se, but it shares the same motion I'm talking about, and that is Wario's up smash, which is him headbutting in the same manner. Yet another way to describe it is Keldeo's standard attack, but tilted 90 degrees counterclockwise. Finally, down tilt actually doesn't involve the horn, as it's just a straight headbutt towards the ground. And while we're at it, the dash attack is another headbutt, but with more force and speed. Up next, all 3 smash attacks are essentially copying Palutena's. Forward and down smash are basically unchanged for Whirlwind. She claps her wings together in front of her for forward smash, and slams both her wings down for down smash. Up smash, however, needs to be tweaked accordingly, since Whirlwind can't fire light beams, but she can fire rainbows. Maybe she casts a powerful rainbow from the ground that sends her opponents upward. Then we have the aerials, for which almost all of them are slash attacks from her horn. Forward air is more or less an exact replica of Keldeo's standard attack. For up air, it's the same situation with the up tilt, where it's Keldeo's attack, but rotated 90 degrees counterclockwise. And while we're discussing rotation, the nair is an aerial somersault, where Whirlwind rotates 360 degrees, swinging her extended horn around herself. Back air is more interesting, because while it is a horn attack, it doesn't involve swinging it in any sort of arc. Instead, it's more like a straight thrust, much like the F-tilt. Whirlwind leans her body back, far enough so that her horn is parallel to the ground, after which her horn extends, piercing enemies behind her. The motion is similar to Wario's back air, where he leans his body back to headbutt enemies. Last is the down air, which is a stall then fall. Whirlwind dives straight towards the ground, her horn dealing damage. The motion is similar to Banjo and Kazooie's down air, another stall then fall. Lastly, we have the grab, pummel, and throws, which were the most difficult attacks to create for Whirlwind, mainly due to the matter of how she grasps her opponents. At first, I was just going to settle with her grabbing enemies with her claws, but then I came up with something more elaborate. Like I mentioned in the beginning, Whirlwind is half unicorn, which led me to conclude that in addition to her powers of weather manipulation, she would possess more basic magical abilities, more specifically, telekinesis, which I even went so far as to Google, do unicorns have telekinesis? During which my question was answered by the My Little Pony wiki, of all places. And just as a coincidental fun fact, according to the Skylanders wiki, Whirlwind shares several similarities to Rainbow Dash from My Little Pony, which is knowledge you'll never use in any aspect of your life. All this to say, even though Whirlwind doesn't seem to have telekinesis in the main games, this will be her main method of tossing her opponents. So going back to the attacks, the grab would just be Whirlwind restraining her opponents telekinetically with her horn. Pummel will just be energy blast from said horn, and of course all the throws would be her tossing players telekinetically. There are plenty of Smash fighters that use telekinesis for the throws, like the aforementioned Palutena. While the animation may not be the same for Whirlwind, they are at least a good framework for how Whirlwind throws her target. For instance, up and back throws are basically just telekinetic tosses in their respective directions. Down throw would be a telekinetic slam onto the ground. And while I could have classified forward throw as just another toss, I was again inspired by Whirlwind's horn attack in her Giants trailer. Therefore, the forward throw would be Z attack. And of course, we can't forget the edge attack, which would be a basic headbutt. Now onto the specials, which are much more clear-cut than the basic moves. For starters, the neutral special is Whirlwind's primary attack, Rainbow of Doom, where she fires rainbows in an arc, damaging players on impact. Not much else to say. There are a few special moves in Smash that involve throwing something in an arc, like Simon and Richter's neutral special. Next is the side special, which is her Tempest Cloud, where she casts a thunder cloud that electrocutes nearby enemies. Multiple clouds can be present on the stage, I would say maximum 2 to 3, and electricity can be formed between these clouds to damage players, which references Tempest Matrix, an upgrade for Tempest Cloud. Next, her up special / recovery is very easy to guess, an upward wing dash. In Whirlwind's case, her wing dash leaves a rainbow trail behind her. The best comparison for this move is Pit / Dark Pit's recovery, not just due to the angelic theme, but during their recovery, their wings are surrounded with a rainbow tint. Also forgot to mention, like other winged Smash fighters like Pit, Whirlwind can perform multiple double jumps. Finally, the down special is her WoW power from Swap Force, Rainbow Rush. Whirlwind flaps her wings, releasing a powerful rainbow shockwave with each flap, launching enemies away. The move is similar to DK's hand slap, although its hitbox is much smaller, as it can only affect players in front of Whirlwind. As long as the special move button is continuously pressed, Whirlwind will keep releasing shockwaves. Saving the best for last, Whirlwind's final smash is none other than her Rainbow Singularity. Whirlwind charges up a super powerful burst of rainbow energy, after which, upon release, the ball of energy transforms into essentially a rainbow black hole, sucking in and severely damaging enemies, before sending them flying, in the context of Smash. Of course, this is very similar to Zelda's final smash, mainly the sucking in aspect. But for a better comparison, let's go back to Palutena once again, with her final smash, Black Hole Laser. I mean, her final smash has Black Hole in the title. Basically, Whirlwind's final smash is the same as Palutena's if you took away the laser, and instead the black hole does all the damage and knockback. Now with the entire moveset covered, as usual, we're moving on to the various animations and costumes. Starting with the on-screen appearance, I came up with something fitting. First, a rainbow descends onto the stage, after which Whirlwind appears, riding the rainbow down towards the stage. No reference to anything, but I hope it's easy to picture a unicorn riding down a rainbow. If not, this SpongeBob gif may be somewhat helpful, I hope. Next up are the taunts, the first being her flapping her wings, like how she does in her summon animation in the main games. The second taunt is like one of Palutena's, where she unfurls her wings and produces an image behind her. In Whirlwind's case, the image would obviously be a rainbow. And the last taunt references one of Charizard's, where she performs a quick aerial maneuver before posing. Up next, the crowd cheer would be a chant of her catchphrase, as I've established in my last video. Twists of Fury! Twists of Fury! Twists of Fury! All that's left are the victory poses. First pose references her first trailer, where she fires 2 rainbows before posing. The second pose references her second trailer, where it's pretty much beat for beat. She flies in the air, then lands to perform a thrust attack with her horn. And the last pose, I'll be honest, I couldn't really think of another one, so I just settled for her flying in different directions before landing and striking a pose. One of Meta Knight's poses kinda illustrates what I'm talking about. Now, the last item for this video are the costumes. Compared to the last calendar we've covered, Whirlwind has more official counterparts, but the original costumes for Whirlwind were difficult to create. First up, there's Horn Blast Whirlwind, her counterpart from Swap Force, where she's equipped with golden armor and a headpiece. Then we have Awakened Whirlwind from Ring of Heroes, another counterpart adorned with golden attachments. In this case, the armor is more decorative, some pieces are placed on her wings and tail, and several blue jewels are present in the armor. The last official counterpart is Polar Whirlwind, a winter-themed variant where she's colored white like snow. Now for the original counterparts, the first 3 are just simple recolors that reference another calendar. To start, there's a purple variant, obviously referencing Spyro. Then there's a red variant referencing Sunburn, a calendar from the first game, Spyro's Adventure, who's also half-dragon. And last, there's a green variant referencing Camo, yet another half-dragon Skylander from the first game. The final costume doesn't reference anything Skylanders or Smash related. It's simply a counterpart where her wings, chest, and tail are painted rainbow, much like the rainbows she shoots from her horn. And miraculously, this skin could also be a callback to that utterly useless factoid about Whirlwind and Rainbow Dash. The features I mentioned possess the same qualities as Rainbow Dash's mane and tail. And that's everything. I hope you stayed till the end, and I appreciate every one of you watching. Before I sign off, I just want to mention that we finally covered a Skylander from all 8 elements. So now it's anyone's guess what the next Skylander I'm going to cover will be. But here's your hint for this video. Their basic moves will be very, very similar to a certain Smash fighter. So, until then, I'll see all you fabulous people soon.